Good day all, and welcome back to our Innovation Station show. Today's story, The Accidental Entrepreneur.
This is Justin. We have a riveting interview by the renowned Peter Parker with Mark Ferrari, owner of a small up-and-coming company, Studio Post.
I am a co-owner of a company called Studio Post. Studio Post has been around for about 30 some years. We do editing and post-production for film and television projects in the Edmonton area.
Awesome. Nice to meet you. So, what are some characteristics unique to you as an entrepreneur?
Some characteristics that are unique to us as an entrepreneur is that I would say that what's unique to me is I have no business experience. I don't consider myself a risk taker, which most.
Danica, is that what you think it is?
Yep, you heard right, Khaled. That is the innovation alarm. Oh my gosh! Innovation on innovation. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Got the chill. Oh my god.
Whoa, stop right there. This is a major disruption on the playing field because Mark needs to drive forward, seeking new ventures and trying new things all the time. That's like a firefighter saying they don't like heat. You can't be an entrepreneur without battling risk. He has fallen into the role of entrepreneur and that's not his fault. But he needs to make more plays and pass the ball around, test the waters, and lead the company like the CEO he is.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Khaled. You really have a knack for spotting the characteristics entrepreneurs need for that cohesive team captain dynamic.
I know, Danica. I'm just lucky I get paid for my passion. Anyway, moving on, let's take a look at Mark's innovative achievements so far.
I've created one piece of software that we manipulate a client. They send us a commercial, and we have to send that commercial to various stations across the country. And the software that we developed helps us fine tune which station gets that commercials so that they can better use their dollars appropriately. So that was something that we created internally.
So here, Mark talks about software invention. Brilliant work, but we also want to see how he formulated his thoughts with the co-owner of the creation of the invention.
Yes, it appears we're missing that crucial play-by-play setup and suddenly got to the end game score.
Let's break down the entrepreneurship for everyday processes so we can get some insight on where Mark could be positioning his ultimate weapon in center field and drive towards the goal. You know, Khaled, usually here we would see a framework in place.
I'll bet Mark has some of this in place already. However, it's just absolutely devastation to any opposition when the core values of the company are organized with the intent to pivot and attack opportunities.
That's right. So, how can Mark specifically target innovative progress in Studio Post? Let's take a look at this example over here. 3P plus L, a framework quite simple but effectively takes the form of a pyramid. The bottom, creating the foundations for all is leadership. Just above that, we have philosophies, literally setting the tone for the whole company. Processes, create policies and procedures to guide creative thoughts towards successful ideas. Lastly, people, supported by all the previous categories, shows us to touch every employee experience with innovations and ideals that promote entrepreneurship.
Nailed it, Danica. Excellent use of the 3P and L framework. It can feel like such a basic formation out on the turf, but the benefits just don't stop.
Let's continue watching Peter Parker's interview with Mark. After that, you'll be hearing from experts Lindsay and Haley, two Spitfire ladies debating the best route for Mark to take from here.
The creative process I think we have for innovation is we have to figure out every project is the same but slightly different. So we have to figure out how we can do a client project in the most efficient and cost-effective manner. So we even though it's kind of technical, there is a creative element to it, and that creative process is mapping our way through the most efficient way to do it. So it's not, it's not A, B, C, D. It's A plus B plus C plus D. So we have to think creatively on how we can work with each client like I said, every project is similar but slightly different, so we have to creatively figure out how to do that with each client.
Mark is absolutely missing an advantage if he doesn't build it. Here you can really see a strong foundation forming with the Studio Post team. We all know leadership, culture, and general team structure are a proven way to really drive the entrepreneurship rate way up and start gaining those innovative benefits. I think if Mark wants to really lean in and take the lead here, he'll promote those values of creativity, efficiency, and adaptability they already have in motion. Most importantly, they seem to have built their playbook around the innovation process and developed this great automatic response to innovation. I mean, refining their processes to each individual client, it's basically impossible for the team to bypass those important stages of the process while navigating problems like silos, innovation theater, and even the valley of death. Talk about muscle memory. If this is how they respond to innovation, they'll be the top contenders in the field in no time.
That's a pretty bold statement for someone who you just said only had the beginnings of a strong foundation, and only based off their response to innovation without structured entrepreneurship training programs for their players. Also, innovation theater? Do you know what you're saying, or do you think your technical jargon makes it seem like you do?
Whoa now, Haley. Kind of wish I was more of a silo worker right now. Anybody feel like they've entered the valley of death of this conversation? All I'm saying is that having a natural positive response to innovation bodes well for them. Many successful companies try hard to build this kind of response that encourages the team members to take the risks that turn into those big plays. Where Mark is at an advantage is that he already has the energy and response from the team that other teams rely on the implementation of frameworks to even attempt to build. He still needs to build that structure to help correctly identify the problems while avoiding wasting time, money, and energy. Otherwise, it's like wrestling. It looks real and it's exciting, but it's theater. Or in our case, we could call it innovation theater. All things aside, fun words aside, what's your hot take for us?
Okay, Lindsay, I'll give it to you straight. Studio Post has the energy, but without structure, its chaos is out on the pitch. Mark's team does react well to innovation. Reacting is not leading. If he really wants to build long-term success, he needs clear processes to turn creativity into results. That is where the entrepreneurial mindset comes in. Just having ideas isn't enough. It is all about making them scalable and strategic. Currently, Studio Post is lucky to have players with talent, but having everyone in the zone together will harmonize their playbook. Mark has all the right ingredients. He just needs the right system to cook with. So yeah, I'm saying it's time to build framework. Then he won't just be chasing innovation, he will be leading it.
I'll give you that, Haley. If there's one thing I can say you're good at, it's knowing how the entrepreneurial mindset affects the team culture.
When we see the hard work at play off on the field, elements like curiosity to attack opportunities and also the element of belief needs to be ignited by Mark's actions.